Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We're hanging out with Jason Goff on a Thursday. Check him out at The Athletic. What's going on, man?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm always glad to be on the show, and also, I listen and I text you about things. Great stuff with Bob Costas, brother. Like
Appreciate it.
I'm really happy that there's someone repping for this weird age group of NBA fan that we're in, where it's like you can Jordan stan if you want, but you're also close to the LeBron stan, so
Yes.
like you're in that middle, and how like amazing that time was, and also like a time where you could root for players that you knew never going to win a championship. And
Yes, it was
storylines,
okay.
yeah,
It was
like
okay to have
Glenn
your
Rice was
guy.
cool, right? Mitch Richmond was cool. You know what I'm saying? And like now, it's like James Harden, his whole career is a failure. Like he scored 36 points a game one season. Like
Dominique
like
Wilkins never got past the second round. Still be
my
shutting down the mall.
my favorite non-bull player of all time.
Yeah.
Dominique. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like it was cool back. I think some of it is coming back now with these kids and the streamers and the little mellow balls of the world, like this new wave of how people are consuming. But I appreciate it because listening to Bob talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I remember Peter Vesey was like a villain with a pen. You know what I mean? It was
But hold
super
on.
dope back then.
You just hit on a thought, right? That is interesting because it's a thin line between a loser and somebody who never won,
Mm,
right? I have
break it
never
down.
thought of Dominique Wilkins as a loser. I could see the argument one could make about James Harden. I will not call him a loser because if he wanted to shoot me for that, like, I'm not saying he would be right, but I wouldn't be surprised, right?
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
not going to call him a loser. However, I have seen him be the cause of some losses in some very significant places, right?
In
But yeah,
dramatic fashion.
there's a whole rack of guys, a wave of guys that for whatever reason, like nobody's like, man, that George Gervin. I guess they won in the ABA, but nobody's like, yeah, that George Gervin. That guy never won an NBA championship. I do wonder what we would have said about Dr. J if 1983 had not happened, right? But how
Yeah.
many guys we got right now that
Oh,
are of that tier and just, I mean, I think there's 2 lines. There's playing for a championship, and just about every great player has played for a championship. And that's the greatest knock against Dominique, is
right.
that all the great ones at least got to the finals, right? James Harden has never been to the finals.
hmm
Like, who are the guys that have never been to the finals? That list is not long.
Yeah, and well, we do the Barkley thing, but because
Barkley got to the
he
finals.
got to the finals with Phoenix, right? Yeah. See, I the post Jordan world that we live in and what it did to load management, what it did to contracts, what it's done to legacies and how we talk about them. Like, and also the Kobe, factor as well, where it's like if you didn't win anything or if you didn't win this many, you won't be respected. And then you get the guys who go to the one and win it, or go to two and win one. Like for instance, Anthony Edwards in this mold that he's in now. Fantastic, terrific player. There's something happening in San Antonio that's about to take off while the Minnesota
Ooh.
thing is staying where it is in a good way, but not championship feelings. If
Yo,
Anthony Edwards goes a decade and don't make it to one,
right.
what we gonna say? Anthony wasn't cold?
Hey, man, and look, Anthony Edwards got to where he got 1 year with Karl Anthony Towns as his right-hand man, and the next year with Julius Randle as the right-hand man. 2 guys who were traded for one another, specifically, I believe, because each team thought they couldn't win with the one they had.
Right,
Right.
right.
And they went and they probably talked them dudes up in the trade. No, man, it's just a salary thing. You know what I mean? Like we gotta stay out of the tax. You're getting a great one here, man. I promise you. They talked all that shit when they made that move. But Anthony Edwards he is the legend killer, right? Like he went through and he
Right.
knocked down, name all the guys that he went through in order to get there, all his heroes in order to get to that conference final. And now Victor, who's out here making the why I'm the MVP case that is pretty compelling. They've never won a playoff series before. There's no way that one could truly reasonably say that they believe the Spurs are going to win a championship, because that is the most unprecedented thing we've ever seen. The closest thing that I could point to that is the Boston Celtics in 2008, where that was the first year of that team. But it was old dudes. You know what I mean? Like it was dudes with some miles on them, with some experience, built around three guys in their 30s. That's not what we're talking about here in San Antonio, but the Celtics didn't have anybody that was 8 feet tall.
Now, so the issue I might have is did that Celtic squad, like, Kevin fell on his face? Ray did what he had to do in Seattle and didn't go as far as he wanted to with Rashard Lewis. And Paul was with, I mean, there
Right.
was a time where Paul was with Antoine Walker, and we were like, man, these two dudes are cold, but they're not winning enough. So they all
They've
went
been
through
to a
this.
conference final.
Right. So they went through their struggles separately and got thrown together. Like that NBA lore of, like, you gotta fall down before you win the
Right.
championship. I mean, Mike did it, right? Detroit. Like, people talk about Mike like there wasn't game 5 in 89 or 80. I think it was 88, where it was like, that was that's not the
Right.
way you want to go out, right? Victor is sitting back like, first of all, it seems like so long ago that we were talking about people on his team don't know he's the best player, and that was his first year. And
Yeah.
now
they all out of there.
they figured it out. They figured it out, right? Like, and now Stephon Castle, he popping up like, hey man, this dude is a lot better than he had ever shown at UConn, and he was the number two pick, if I'm not mistaken, right? So it's like, man, I don't know how to view this going forward, especially with the glut of young NBA talent, and now the old heads who were like, all right, now Luka's got to go to another one. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is now a prime veteran with a bunch of young dudes around him who's already been to one and won one. Like, this is uncharted territory for the youth that is about to just take over, and also the young, I say the prime veterans who still need to win one, right?
Yeah. But Victor is the born superstars are rare.
Mm.
Right. And I don't just mean superstar in the sense of how good a player is. I mean, in terms of grasping and appreciation, the magnitude of everything that goes into being you, right? Not just, I'm going to dominate on the floor, getting a little fan section going and all of that stuff, right? Showing up at the All-Star game and making everybody play hard because you don't want to get your shit tossed by this 8-foot tall monster, right? Like, completely changing the everything around everything that he touches, right? He understands what it means to be a superstar in this league. He's that guy. He made that call. And he enjoys defeating people. Like, he enjoys
he's got enough asshole in him.
Yes. He, like beating people is what he's in this for. And he wants this MVP. Like, this is interesting. Is he the MVP? I don't know if statistically you can make the argument, right? He's going to make it to the 65 game mark if he plays 8 more games and they have 10 left. So I'm assuming that he's going to get out there. They are the 2 seed in the West, which none of us thought that they were going to be. In a season where it looked at a point like Oklahoma City was going to win 75 games, except for the fact that the Spurs went out there and tossed them 3 times in a row, right? He's the story for this postseason. The West is looking incredible, but he's the thing to look at.
That's it. I'll never forget having an argument on air with Rodney Harrison during the Cam Newton MVP run that season, where I'm like, hey man, for me, there's simple metrics, there's the advanced stuff, but sometimes you just got to ask, who was this season about? Who was the season about? And the slow burn that has been this Victor Wembanyama season, where it's been fantastic things damn near every night, but it's like, oh yeah, he did another fantastic. Like we're getting used to it in a way where, prime Giannis, like early prime
Right.
Giannis, where it's like this dude putting up Shaq numbers and he running fast breaks and all. Man, that 80-foot pass that he caught with one hand, slung it to De'Aaron Fox in the corner. Pocket pass. De'Aaron Fox catches the ball, and De'Aaron's like, no. You 8 feet, and your second jump is as quick as any wing in this league. I'm just gonna throw it back up there as soon as you come down. Like the
Yeah.
shit that he is doing, bro. Like when I heard LeBron was coming from Sonny Vaccaro on a telephone call where he was like, I got the greatest player of all time in my camp. That's the way I felt when I'm like, all right, the Victor Wembanyama thing is coming, and then you start checking it out, and you're like, no, man, this ain't just happening against cats who like smoke cigarettes during like that old European like stuff we throw on. No, this is coming, and the fact that it's landed and he's doing this, well, first of all, with minute restrictions in the beginning, and now the target is squarely on his back. LeBron's saying in the All-Star game, and everybody can read the language because this is how these dudes feel, is fuck Wemby. Like, yeah, he ain't
Yeah.
making us play hard. No, everyone feels that way, and you still can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, I'd say this though. Where everybody lands in the standings is going to be interesting because the Lakers are playing themselves into the 3. They're a game and a half ahead of Denver. Where to me it gets interesting with the Spurs is if the Nuggets wind up in that 3, get to the second round, and now Victor's got to deal with the guy I still say is the best player in the NBA is Jokic. I don't know how like that. It will be very interesting because I don't feel like we've seen them play against each other a lot, if I'm not mistaken. Like it feels like I think
He's been out.
I think it's the Nuggets that Jokic don't play them games, and I think it's just because they try to hold it out, right? Like they're not trying to give that monster any ability to adjust and to figure out what to do. Like this is it. But I brought him up in part because I'm seeing people talk about the 65 game limit on whether you can win MVP or make all NBA or win the awards. And it's so funny because I swear I was here when they put the rule in and I did not hear all this complaint.
So I hated it immediately.
Yeah, but right fast. You know I'm right about not saying you.
No, not the complaining. Yeah.
But the complainers, all of a sudden now everybody hated it. I believe that you did.
Yeah, so too many people try to make basketball what they knew it to be. And there's a game that evolved. I don't think any game has evolved past the limits or the definitions of what it used to be, more so than basketball, right? Football can change rules every single year, and it don't matter because it's football, and we're gonna find a way to figure it out, kick off rules, this, that, and the other. Like, I remember when there wasn't a halo on punt returners, right? Like, things change because the evolution of the game is accepted. With what's happening now, all the space and pace stuff, you got dribble handoffs happening 45 feet away from the basket to make the best athletes in the world go downhill at crazy speeds. When the game says, hey man, these cats are breaking down, one, because they're playing more basketball than ever, two, because post Jordan, nothing but a championship matters, and we paying these dudes exorbitant amounts of money, so the regular season has been, kind of brought down a couple of notches. This 65 game stuff, immediately I was like, all right, one, you either gonna have cats playing games they shouldn't be playing, or getting back to the MVP conversation, we're going to lose the journal of the season, the story of the season. You mean to tell me Cade Cunningham, if he only played 62, 63 games, he wasn't one of the best 3 guards for these all NBA teams, first through third teams?
But we know this was never about that logic. We know what basically happened. The people on the internet basically accuse these dudes of faking injuries, right? like
or being lazy.
Yeah. Or just the general idea of load management, right? Like
right.
But the idea was these guys are healthy enough to play and they're not playing. Therefore, we need to find a way to induce this effort, right? Because effort is not an observable variable, right? You have to induce it. So how are we going to induce this? We're going to induce it by putting these restrictions on these awards, but not because of the awards, because of the money that was associated with the awards in terms of awarding supermax contracts, right? That was the reason they did it. And now what they found out is, nah, man, these dudes really be hurt, man. Like, and maybe it's some quirky stuff, like a collapsed love for Cade Cunningham. That is not an
That's tough.
overuse issue, right? Like that.
Right.
I mean, that's not why we're here. But people wanted the guys to play more games. And the NBA made a decision that, to me, was about winning a press conference and telling the fans, we want these guys to play more games too. And don't you worry, we're getting on the case, because people wanted them to get on the case. Then they got on the case, and now people are like, man, we ain't even want that. Man, what is this? This is stupid. Now, to me, where it's interesting is that for the MVP, this was always going to enforce itself. There's only been one MVP in an 82-game season who played fewer than 65 games. Like, this is not an award that we give people who don't play games. And the only one that was, by the way, was Bill Walton in 78, coming off the championship when the players still voted, by the way, and the players were clearly sick of voting for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, that's what that came. And he played 58 games that season. That's it. 58 games in the course of that season. That's the only time it had ever happened. This was about all-NBA team and defensive player of the year to try to hold up cats' money, right? That's all it was. But then they wind up in a year where all the best players is missing a gang of games. Now, my question is, if we didn't have this 65-game thing in there, was it thrown out there, would we give the MVP to somebody who only played 60 games? Like, will we do it? I have a hard time seeing that happen.
Yeah. Like, again, you got to be the story of the season. Like, even with Jokic, the voter fatigue and all those things fly in there as well. I mean, the money aspect really sucks, right? It wasn't a Klay Thompson who missed an All NBA vote because one reporter voted, some other way, and he missed the supermax contract. Like, when you start messing with dudes' money, then we're talking a different a different ball of wax. I just don't know how you fix it, man. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what you can do. I don't know the restrictions and parameters you can place on basketball outside of your league because, like I said, there were people here in this city that knew how much basketball Derrick Rose was playing, right, as a young kid, right, and how much, not just AAU stuff, but just how much ball he was playing. Even though he wasn't playing pickup ball at 5-on-5, he was out here, and he was wrapped up.
Yeah.
He had all the arm sleeves and all the knee sleeves before he even got to Memphis. So I don't know what it is you can do for the greater basketball story and the observer feeling more fulfilled. And on top of it, man, like, the NBA MVP is still an MVP that like means something.
Yes.
Like baseball, obviously, football, cool, but there's years where the MVP has been like, oh yeah, that guy won an MVP,
Yeah,
and it hasn't been the story of the season.
Only Hall of Famers win MVPs. Like, the only MVP that is probably not going to make the Hall of Fame is Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
Literally, every other one. You win a scoring championship in the NBA, you're going to the Hall of Fame. They're all in too. Like, there is no Brian Sipe on the list of NBA Hall of Famers. There's no Terry Pendleton on the list of NBA Hall of Famers. That's not how NBA MVPs. I mean, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Now and now with this next wave of dudes, like the whole Wemby thing, and everybody in sports should be keeping their fingers crossed. It's obviously help. You see a man that big, first thing you think about is the feats, right? Like, you go back to Sam Bowie, you go back to Ralph Sampson, you go back to Bill Walton, right? Joel Embiid. Like, first thing you think of a man over 7'1", 7'2" is hopefully the lower extremities hold up, right? And he's spindly as it is, but it's not like he's always in the paint. Not like the paint is what it used to be in terms of physical contact. But yeah, man, I can't see myself I can't see myself thinking in the future, especially how normalized missing games have become. I can't see myself thinking, Wemby only got two MVPs because of that damn 65 game rule. So he really isn't one of the greats. Like all of our lenses are changing in real time. And I think we're in this crossroads of like, how will history talk about this time of basketball where, and also, let's face it, there are more there are more people who played the game that are talking about the game than ever, than ever. Like our orators used to be reporters. It used to be big voice guys and girls out there who talked about the game. Now it's dudes who are actually in the game who, after they get out 5 years later, 7 years later, tell you, "Hey man, I was mailing it in that last half of that season. Boy, I was bad. This, that, and the other." So there's this breaking down of the fourth wall that I think a lot of fans are privy to that detracts or takes away from some of the lore that we kind of grew up with, thinking like, all right, cool. Like the 82 game seasons that Jordan played in a row, where he played all the games, all the playoff games, all these other things, and then we look back and like, all right, but guys had 15, 14 year runs, and now 17 to
Yeah.
20 year careers are unrealistically the norm for stars.
Yeah. But brother, here's the thing. Again, that assumes that the point of this is about making people worthy of the awards.
Mm.
And that's not it. They just want, look, you can trust the voters to get it right. You know what I mean? Like if the voters are there, they clearly have figured out on their own. Even Joel Embiid, that year he won the MVP, 66 games. Right? Like, although I think, if I'm not mistaken, the rule was in place. And that is one of those that gets you into the idea that, well, maybe we're going to be able to drag some people out here and get them to play. But no, they're going to.
Got Joe rocking out there like Willis Reed. Like, it's 66.
Slap that table, get in, get your ass back out of there.
Sub me out.
Coming up next, we're going to talk about this interview that Jay-Z did with GQ, if interview is even the right word. Ever wanted to go to the NBA Finals? Well, now's your chance, courtesy of FanDuel. All you have to do is use your profit boost on an NBA future, and you'll be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. NBA futures let you lock in your pick for who you think will go all the way, whether it's a team to win the championship or a conference title. Visit FanDuel.com/Bomani to get started. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kansas, Wyoming. Opt-in requirement. Awards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsduel.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
All right, we are back with Jason Goff. So I checked out the Jay-Z interview, at least much of it. I felt like it was very long, and he did not say very much in the course of that interview. Joel, my good buddy Joel had the best line about it, which was, take the 500,000. And for those of you who don't know, there's a long-running meme. What would you rather have? Insert dollar amount. We'll call it 500,000 here. $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z. And the idea is that all that game that Jay-Z would give you over the course of dinner would be worth more than $500,000. And Joel is like, no, after I read that interview, you just need to take $500,000.
Before I read that interview. You kidding me? You know,
I mean, we knew it before, but it was definitely solidified after reading that interview.
You talk about stands. You got stands situations coming. Man, listen, I am a home stand that am in this realm now of like, as a LeBron fan too. Where it's like, hey man, you gotta like, all right, cool. You did it, player. Like you got as much. You're a billionaire 2 times over. Like I get it. You cold. Hey, thanks for the vulnerable album. 444, the tough listen. Like I'm with you, fam. The 17-minute God did verse. You still cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can still rap your ass off. I sat there and I was like, all right, what am I gonna get from it? And I saw the video as well, and I'm like, oh, he just hit you with the parables. He hit you with the parables. He hit you with and the best thing, he hit you. He hit you with the usual suspects again, where it's like, I'm gonna talk about the system, and
Yeah.
then be the system at the same time.
Yo, that's the amazing thing about Jay-Z is he is very invested in the building of the myth of Jay-Z. He is not the only person in such a position, though he has access to tools in order to do so, right? Now, I want to be fair to all parties involved that if that interview ever had the chance of being tough, it was never going to take place. And for those who don't know, it's 30 years since Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt. It's 25 years since his other, the two albums that people generally speak of as the two best Jay-Z albums, are Reasonable Doubt and The Blueprint. Blueprint came out in 2001. He's doing a couple concerts at Yankee Stadium around this. Apparently now he's added a third one. He's going to the Roots Picnic. Like, this is a year of Jay-Z. And I don't know if Jay-Z is selling something else, right? Like, if there's an album that's coming with it, presumably that's going to happen. But the reason I'm not so sure about that, or it doesn't, I don't think these are vehicles to sell an album. I think these are vehicles to sell the legend of Jay-Z, right? Because I don't think there's not that much money in making music anymore. He doesn't need an album to do the tour or to do a tour or to do these concerts. He's got these other things. He is about building the idea or the notion of Jay-Z, and people want to feel like one of us got to the top and that Jay-Z is an example of that, right? But I saw Jay-Z say in this interview that he got to where he was. It was him pushing back on the idea that billionaires are inherently bad, an idea that he doesn't understand, but we'll get to that in a minute, right? But he had the gall to say the words, "I didn't get here by taking advantage of people." And I'm like, you sold crack to your mother. You told me that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you like 444 was the vulnerable album. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
But he makes the point in there that, or he made a point in the interview I thought was interesting. He was like, well, no, I talk about when I take losses. I have songs like Regrets and You Must Love Me. No, You Must Love Me is entirely about how terrible you were, and you still keep winning with the people to whom you were terrible, right? Regrets is like,
didn't he shoot a family member and You Must Love Me?
yes. And ran into the night as if it was not his family. That was what he said. Regrets, the whole point of Regrets is, hey, baby, if you try to win, you got to do some shit. Hey, that's what it is. But I'm just like, you're right. He is the system. Like, his goal was clearly to become part of this system, because there is no countercultural billionaire. It doesn't work that way.
No. So throughout like when the Colin Kaepernick thing was going down, and there was a moment there that it was reaching a boiling point, because the NFL had positioned Jay-Z as, okay, this will be our conduit. This will be our vessel to help people understand in the urban environments, and black folks and rap heads and hip hop lovers and anybody of the culture, that, hey, we are making our strides. There was a moment there where a lot of people were like, you know what, this is where I get off. This is where I get where we start talking about performances at halftime being more important than, because the whole, what was the statement, we don't have to kneel anymore, or that kind of vibe, like
Right. We're
from
beyond
that.
kneeling.
Yeah, we're beyond kneeling, right? And from that moment on, the 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 underworld of Jay-Z hate started to rise to the surface of, like, hey man, you can't just be the most, ballingest dude, have the greatest life and tell us about it all these years, and then on top of be like, hey, time for y'all to cut this shit out and figure out, you know what I mean? Like it felt like the homie coming back to the block, like, hey man, y'all still doing this bullshit out here, man? You know what I mean? I tried to get you into that real estate seminar 2 weeks ago that I was throwing, and you decided not to. I guess you just love being broke. I'll catch you later. And then you just see the smoke from the exhaust from the bins like fly up in everybody's face. You know
Brother,
what I
do you
mean?
remember when he tried to get Marcy on the crypto?
Yes.
That's it wasn't enough that you used to sell him crack. Now you want to sell him funny money,
Funny, buddy.
right? Like that. Like now you trying to get him on the funny money. Like this is
I
so
listen, I love the music, right? I grew
yeah.
up around people who were in those kinds of, ventures, shall we say. Like I got reasonable doubt when it came out as a
Yeah.
kid because one of the homies was like, "Yo, check this out. This is like a diary of what really goes down." And I'm like, "Oh, this is outstanding." I thought I was like a niche fan club kind of thing, and then volume one he blows up. But man, to see the where this thing is now. Like all the Bob Marley likenesses and references and the Basquiat, the way that he's being photographed these days. Like I love the fact that he's gotten older and still doesn't give a shit about what he doesn't have to give a shit about. Like that's what he's telling you in this interview. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you know what it is? It's the
But
last dance.
hold on, no. But he does still give a shit about what we think of him, which he also doesn't have to think about, but is very much concerned with.
It's the last dance kind of vibe.
Yeah, but like so let me run something by you that hit me the other day.
All right.
I saw on one of the social media platforms somebody had posted the video of him at the Unplugged show in, I guess it was 03. Doing 02 or 03, I can't remember which, but he's doing Takeover, right? And the Roots, put in all the beats, from the other cats or whatever. And it was the Che Guevara era where he's wearing the Che Guevara t-shirt. And then he gets on the Black Album and he says, I'm Che Guevara with bling on, I'm complex. And it's like, brother, and I mean this, Che Guevara would murder you and tell everybody about it to prove a point.
Man,
like that is
real
not
dictator.
that's not what this is, right? And so I bring that up to say I don't think he understands critiques of capitalism, right? And where it got weird for Jay in terms of how many people receive him, obviously not everybody, is the fact, and I said this around during COVID, I was like, it's going to be really interesting to see how we view him now that the idea of being super rich isn't as popular as it used to be. And his whole brand is being apex predator capitalist. The most noble thing about Jay-Z has always been that he was rich, right? That was the brand from 1996 on. He changed the game in rap as he was the first dude to come out zero to presenting as rich immediately. Nobody got to present as broke anymore, right? Like Saul's about that. No. You need to be rich right now. You need to have all them chains and shit right now. You
couldn't talk about your cherry red Pathfinder like the leaders of the new school did.
No, he was like, yo, man, what is that? Like,
4.0?
Yeah.
You only driving in a $100,000 truck.
4.0 wasn't good enough, right? Your base model Range Rover, dude. I'm over here. What are you talking about, right? Like that's the person that he gave, and that's the person that he presented, and so he doesn't know when people started hitting back and were like, hey, man, the idea that anybody could ever have this much money is actually quite problematic. He can't reconcile that it's not the same people fully who praise you for being rich. He was like, yeah, man, I thought being a capitalist was good in America. That's not the people who's talking to you right now about this, but they are the people that you often claim that you speak for. That are the ones that are like, hey, man, like maybe you need to give some thought to where you stand, in this here class game. Maybe you need to consider that. And so that's a shift that's happened that it's clear he still can't. He's like, but I thought you loved the fact that
he's removed from it
and got all this money. Yeah. He's like, no, but he's like, I'm just doing the same thing that got me on the cover of Time magazine.
You know,
Again, but that's your argument about him being the system, right?
Yeah.
He's just like, I did, and you guys love me for getting to all these places. Like, what are you talking about? And now all of a sudden it's a problem, and it's like, oh, you don't get the arguments at all. You just think that people are hating on you.
Yeah, it's always resonated with him too, right? Because he, you know, I put dollars on mine. Ask Columbine, like the you talk about the nobility part. He I won't say he presents it, but we find out a lot of like what he does behind the scenes, similar
Yeah.
to Jordan, where it's
Yes.
like, hey man, these people don't know what I actually do outside of telling you how cold I am.
Yeah.
It strikes a tone with him. It strikes a nerve with him. Even in this interview where he was like talking about Drake and Kendrick, and he's like, people are trying to say that I'm aligned against Drake, and he looks at the interviewer and says, I'm motherfucking Jay-Z. He
Yeah.
goes, I'm
Yeah, but
home. And that was the moment where it flipped from like, you know, like sit back, humbly stated, terrifically outfitted, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Buddha like Zen rap figure to, hey, but I'm still the man on this block.
Yeah.
Like
But you know what
there's that
though?
dichotomy.
But he seems to understand that he the man on that block, and on that other block, he just one of many rich people. And the reason that I say that is this. Clearly that money only means so much in terms of power. Because if there were actual power behind it, he wouldn't be so afraid of saying anything real.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
Like he still clearly works to not offend. That's
mm.
clearly still on the board and in his thoughts when he has things to say and to talk about. Is like he's not going to say anything that goes that far because again, he's part of that machine.
I was gonna
You
say, this
know?
is peeps.
Yeah. And so the interview, as far as an interview goes, and look, that's a tough interview to do, no matter who you are, right? Like that's like you say, that's motherfucking Jay-Z, right? That's Jay-Z who's in front of you. It's clear that the dude who did the interview is a big Jay-Z fan. So there was only going to be but so much pushback on him. And maybe one could make the argument that sometimes you let somebody's words speak and express who they are, and you don't even need to fully double back on, right? Like, okay, Jay said these things, but I thought Jay came across as being a bit of an empty vessel in that
Mm,
interview. And
mm.
I don't think that's what he was going for. I think he thought, like you said, that he was spitting, he was going to hit him with some of that wisdom. You know, but I'm not an idealist. I'm a realist. I take the world as it is. That's some really disheartening, cynical shit right there.
Especially in these times, right?
Yes.
Like, especially in these times where people are scraping and scrounging, you know, health insurance ain't cheap, like life ain't cheap. Life is as expensive as it has been in God knows how long. And also, but this is the thing too, the audience though, Bo, right? Like there is a there is a worldly affect to what Jay-Z has experienced, but I think the audience that has traveled with him has kind of always expected him to be the motivational piece or the tool or the inspiration and looked at him as such. Where it's like if you listen to Dead Prayers or if you listen to any like back in the day, listen to the Poor Righteous Teachers or X Clan, all these things, like the audience that grows with you is going to always see you in that light and maybe not ask anything else of you. And then when you do hit them with a spare nugget or a piece of what they would deem wisdom, it's like mind blowing. Whereas everybody else is like, all right, we got that, but like, how you feel about this? Like, I went back and watched the interview that he did 8 years ago with the Times, and he was talking about what Donald Trump getting elected. The positives of that in terms of the discourse and the dialogue that this country will have, and it blew my mind when I was sitting there watching it with my wife because I'm like, man, I have long thought that anybody outside of black people who are like, no, we need this discourse and dialogue. And I'm like, hey man, if you told black people that all this shit would end today, if all we did was had to talk, you get screamed at because that we've been talking. Everybody's just been talking this whole time. Like, what's the actual actionable items that can be put in place? And that was the other thing too. When he was in the room with Goodell, he mentioned actionable items. Like,
Yes.
what's next? And it's kind of like those things where where there's shootings in schools and people do the thoughts and prayers and they go, we can't talk about these things or legislation pieces or policies now because it would be absurd and it would offend the victims, and let's not cover up these heinous crimes with our agendas. But it's like, if we never get to it, then we never get to it. It feels like there's a portion of rap fans and people who are our age who are like, all right, but when you going to get to what's happening
Yeah.
now? And how are you going to get to it? Through
Right.
your music and through your art and through your words. Like, every interview is an album now, right?
Right.
Every time you pop up with a content creator, that's your latest single as opposed to
Yeah.
music. So this is the actual item. This is the time now where you could be like, all right, 8 years ago I said that. Now this is what has become of it, and this is how I want to change it.
Yeah. I think where I land ultimately, hey man, it's okay to just be a rapper.
100%.
And I say that to us. Right?
100, yeah.
Because one thing he does that I do think is interesting, like when he had the Book of Hov exhibit at the Brooklyn Museum, the key there is he could have put that in any museum or like any gallery or whatever it is, that type of stuff. But he wanted to put it in a place that's accessible to the people, right? These concerts at Yankee Stadium, for example. There's always like an air. He puts an air of accessibility on. Like, I'm going to hit you with this glimpse into the other side of life, but I'm gonna make it to where you can always get a touch of it, right? Like, he's very good at the accessible at giving the presentation of accessibility. But to me, the thing is, it's okay if you just real good at rap, you know, because I don't care about him being a very successful businessman and being rich. Like, that just doesn't
Move you.
That's not. That doesn't, I don't know. That's a very good for you sort of situation. I just don't care that much about that. That does not inspire me. That does not motivate me. I know it wasn't easy, right? But it doesn't do those things. Okay, cool. You're that. But our need very often to make Jay-Z into something bigger than just a rapper is how we wind up into these other spaces. Because if all we do is evaluate him and the quality of his music, it's a very interesting discussion. There's a lot of cool stuff that he's gotten done and gotten across, right? He's done that. Anytime, the moment it tries to go into something bigger, it's like, yep, no. Why don't you just get back to rap? But I want to rap for one thing.
Chris Rock's and his next door neighbor is a dentist, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
He ain't create teeth.
Hey, man, I don't need to talk to Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? Where is Ja? It ain't an issue. I'm going to make a transition now. There's no smooth way to do this, but I have something I want to run by you. It's a story I've been looking at in the news, and I've been bothered by the story, and I want to tell you why I'm bothered, and I'm curious whether you feel similar things, and I'm sure that you've seen the story.
I'm glad you got your hands on this one.
Yeah, there's a gentleman. He's accused of murder. He was in a car with 3 people, and he was driving the car. And he shot a guy in the passenger seat. Now, the gentleman is a cornhole player. He is a professional cornhole player. And if you don't know, cornhole is where they take the bean bags and they throw them into boards that's got the holes in them. Right?
It's bags, yeah.
Yeah. My
My
brother's a big fan. They be playing it over there outside the apartment. Okay. But the thing is, the gentleman is a quadruple amputee. He does not have hands. He does not have like full legs. And he is the one that has been accused of this murder. And allegedly he asked the people after he shot the dude, he asked the people in the backseat to help him dispose of the body. And they said, no, they would not help him dispose of the body. And I watched this report on CBS News, and it was very stern and they were very straight faced as they was explaining what was going on. It's like, we have a case in wherever the hell it was, and they put on they strained faces and they said that he was a quadruple amputee and all of these things. It took 2 minutes and then they broke, and then they went to another story. And it's something that, like, my brother really conditioned me on this, and it's very important, that I don't like is passive aggressive behavior, right? Like, if you're gonna do the thing, do the thing. Okay.
Right.
These people know good and goddamn well why that story made the CBS News. Okay. Everywhere that you've seen it, you know good and well why that story is out here. This is not news I can use. This is not information that is important to the world. There are many murders that take place every day. This is only in the news because they know that you will hear this story and you will find it uproarious. That is the only reason that this news has been presented to the world. But they don't present it as uproarious. No, because they too classy. They too dignified, right? No, it's just the facts. Joe Friday and this motherfucker telling you about how the dude with no hands is out here smoking people. And by the way, don't even explain to you how exactly that's possible. Because I know that when you hear that story, you're like, wait, I don't really understand what you're saying. He was driving a car and he shot a person? Wait, how can that happen? They don't tell you none of that. And they had the ability to tell people this because Jason put me up on game and I didn't realize this. It was videos all over the internet of this dude, he climbing trees and shooting and hunting and shooting people? And
climbing trees with a rifle.
Climbing trees with a rifle. They didn't put any of that on TV because that would have gave the game away because they wouldn't have been able to make it to the end of the shot because they would have been busted out laughing right there on television if they had done that. And I just think that's messed up because they throw that out here to the rest of us and they want us to talk about it. And I ain't trained in the news like that. I ain't got straight face practice. You understand what I'm saying? They think I'm supposed to come out here and talk about this horrible tragedy that took place where a man that don't got no hands shot somebody and then was like, somebody come help me with the body. After those people said no, did he say, well, fuck it, I'll do it myself? I don't know. That's the news that I could use if I'm trying to understand what happened with that story. But no, I'm supposed to put my money on the line behind this. Y'all betrayed us, journalistically speaking, not giving us the information that you had that we needed to draw a full conclusion because you cowards are afraid of spitting that real and telling the truth. And now I got to come out here and do it with a straight face. I got to get out here and talk about this like I don't know why this story is a story. You know what I'm saying? Jason Goff over there trying to hold it together. You realize the position that you put him in? Ryan, put yourself on the screen right now. Right now. Like, look what they did. Look what they doing to y'all. Look what they doing. Bo did this, so hopefully you won't have to go through this. You feel me? Right? I'm keeping this in the road for everybody else, right? Because they put us here. They know this shit is hilarious. They know it.
So we.
And by the way, it's not anybody's fault that it's hilarious. I was given this world. I didn't make it. To quote a great rapper, I'm not an idealist. I'm a realist. I take the world as it is.
It'd be so dope if he had American Gangster playing in the tape deck. It'd be so dope. So this is one of those things. First of all, this is one of those things where like your news homies, like sports is the toy department, right? This is like one of those things where your news homies just slide a little something to you, like take a look at that player, tell me what you think I can do with this, right? That story. First of all, I caught that story in the Devil's Lair, the Devil's Cauldron, which is the For You tab on X, right? It's like the For You tab for me is like, you go and buy the old coffee shop and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have a little this, little this. Don't tell nobody I had any of this. Let's keep it moving. So it started to trickle out, right? The positioning, how the guy was actually, and thoughts and prayers to that person,
absolutely,
and that, right? But I immediately, when I read the headline, because it said quadruple amputee murder, right? So I'm like, headbutt is a hell of a way to go, right? Like I immediately, I thought
it was a fair point.
Duh, Come on, man. We grew up in the 80s where you had to have an imagination as a kid, right? Wasn't all these
Right.
goddamn screens. We had to
You
fight
you say
G.I.
you
Joes
say he,
versus
you say
He-Man.
he out here playing Goldeneye,
Let me tell you,
and
how many times?
he ain't got no gat.
None. You know what I'm saying? Guess what's harder than my head? Nothing. Bang, you out, right? I thought that's how it went. Then I come to find out he got folks in the back seat. In the back seat, and I don't know how much of a gangster or a punk you either got to be to look at a quadruple amputee in the driver's seat and be like, and see him murder someone and be like, I ain't helping you with shit. Do you know how capable this man is? Do you know if this man, first of all, his name is Dewey, right? You know they call him Dewdrop in the hood, right? So the Dewdrop, if he climbing trees with rifles, what make you think he won't pull up in the most innocuous way and knock you out? This is his homie that he knocked off too. That's the other thing. Like, I just want, at first I'm like, man, they putting this on Dewdrop. Like, Dewdrop was in the back seat.
Here how you know he was gangster. He would, how he be like, yo, I'll drive.
Well,
That's how you know he run things.
This is the other thing. What if Dewdrop is the DD, right? And everybody a little sauced up, everybody kicking it, and Dewdrop pull up mad, right? Obviously. Y'all done kicked it. What's going on? Everybody get in the car. One guy talk. We saw it in Dead Presidents. We saw it. You know what I mean? Man took his leg off, still got that work on the ground. Like, I'm sorry, brother. And shout out to my man Mike B from Tampa, because I put it in my group chat. Sometimes I just put things in my group chat to see it explode and then come back 8 hours later to see. First thing my man Mike B said, and I'm with him. Hey, cats like this, front lines. Front lines.
Yeah.
You feel me? Listen, you can either go to jail or we got some things that need handling overseas. I'm sorry. You put Dewdrop where, or you drop him anywhere, and you talk like, if Denzel Washington could run around a Lowe's for 6 hours in 2 movies and kill people, man. Shout out to Dewey. I've never shouted out a murder. Well, I probably have, but I've never shouted out a murderer in this way. That story, everybody knew what it was the moment they saw it. Like you said, everybody was laughing immediately. Shout out to all the real journalists out there who had to actually deliver this with a straight face.
No, because they was passing the buck. They left out important stuff.
But the thing like murder, it's serious. Is it out for them in a way? You know what I mean? Like,
they could have told us more, but they was afraid. You know what else? They kind of told us this. This has been lost in it, by the way. Rest in peace to the victim. Our buddy Dayton Weber, aka Dewey, he going through it. Cause I had seen that the murder victim's name was Bradrick, and they showed a picture. And I didn't think it was Dewey because it was next to a picture. It was a picture of Dewey in competition. And then it was a picture of Dewey now. And I thought they was 2 different people. And so I thought the second picture was the picture of the victim. And I was like, damn, white Bradrick. Hate it had to be you. But it turns out Bradrick is actually African-American.
Yeah. And this is, so how can I put this? Your friend group can be as eclectic as you would like it to be. It could have people from various backgrounds. If I'm the brother and I'm pulling up with not only a quadruple amputee, but a famous one, like the first thing I saw, this was attached and people quote tweeted it because of the ESPN story that ran about this man. Right? Like the ESPN investigative, special report, like, look at what this young man has gone through and look at how he has achieved. Man, hey, I guess that's why I keep my circle small, man. Because at some point, Dewdrop gonna go off. He got these skills. He not only is a world-renowned bags player, but he is a hunter. Come on, dog.
Hey,
come on, dog.
Do you have any clue what I had to do to get here? I don't think you do, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jason Goff. Check him out on The Athletic. Catch him in Chicago. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
man.
saying? My brother,
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you as always, and I'll leave you with this, brother. In the great words of Sugar Free, you got the same amount of time in the day as Dayton Weber. Don't choose to be nobody. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 4 days a week. Ryan Brumley handled everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe that you are a hater. And we'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.